Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Little Things podcast, where we take a step away from the big picture and look at all the beautiful things this life has to offer. Hello, I'm your host, Alexis Scott, and welcome to today's episode. Okay, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today on this lovely conversation we're going to be having about how authenticity is power. So I hope you grab your fun little drink. I'm currently drinking an Alani right now, and feel free to get cozy, comfy while we talk about this. And if you want more behind the scenes, more content, anything like that, further discuss this topic or any topics you want to hear on the channel, feel free to reach out at the alexisscott.business on Instagram. And for more content, follow the TikTok, which will all be linked down below. And with that said, let's get on to today's episode, talking about how authenticity is the power. Okay, so we're talking all about authenticity today, what that even means, how we can use that to our advantage, and things like that. I would like to say the quote that being yourself literally makes you so much more powerful. And it makes you feel more powerful. And there is something that I've learned, that whenever I'm with myself, whenever I'm not trying to be somebody, I'm not like appeal to somebody else, whenever I am genuinely truly being myself is when I feel the best. And it's made me create the best friendships, the greatest relationships, and the biggest opportunities is when I'm genuinely myself and I don't have that barrier up or I'm trying to be somebody I'm not. That to me is something that I will take away so much from just learning overall, that being your authentic self, being who you truly are, is the greatest power you can have, because it will bring you so many good opportunities. Authenticity can backfire, because if you're too authentic, like being too brutal or being too mean, yes, it can backfire, but there is like a true authenticity where it's truly like being you, just unapologetically being you. And of course, you know, we have so many things like this new movement of being like having relatable content to follow, with people just doing their day to day and not having this very authenticity is coming back and is becoming more popular now. And having it is something that is so incredible. And I've realized so many people, like, when you're your true self and you're just who you are naturally, it will get you farther with everything. And so it truly is like the best power to have. So that's what we're talking about today. So that is what we're talking about in today's episode. Let's back up with some research, right? Like, you can say be your true self. What does that even mean? Does it really even matter? You know, you can say that so much, but we're going to back it up with some actual scientific research. So the first one is a study called The Power of Being Yourself. So this is a study, and it is across 5 experiments with combined 715 participants. The research found that people gain a subjective sense of power specifically by being authentic. So they feel more confident and feel like they have more power in the world by being themselves. And this is a study shown. So it's not just, oh, well, I feel better because I'm being myself. Like, it genuinely gives you a sense of power and a sense of control over who you are and how you want to live your life. And that's what we need. We need to have that power of how we want to live our life, because your life truly is dictated by how you act. Authenticity is a little bit of a loop, like being authentic. And that loop is authenticity gives you power, and power gives you room to be more authentic, right? So like chicken and the egg, kind of. So if you are very authentic with yourself, you have more, more sense of control over your life and all that. And therefore, you want to keep doing it. So it's a very nice little cycle that repeats. And many scholars and research also say that the more your self-esteem is, the more high your self-esteem is based off how authentic you are. So like your authenticity and your self-esteem balances out and creates like the higher your self-esteem is, the higher you're more authentic. And when you're more like content with yourself, you're more confident in who you are, you're more authentically able to be your true self. And then therefore it's then again another loop. What even is authenticity, right? Like, we can talk about being like, oh, just be your true self all the time, but what actually is it? So this is the psychological standpoint. So it's not the same thing as saying like whatever you're thinking. That's not it. Like, you obviously probably shouldn't say whatever you're thinking at any given moment. That's probably not a good thing. But Psychologists describe authenticity as a multi-part concept. So there's multiple parts to this, right? And it starts with self-awareness, like knowing your values, your thoughts, your authenticity starts with your self-awareness of knowing who you are as a person, like your goals, your thoughts, your philosophy on life, all those things, like knowing who yourself is first. That's the first part of authenticity. Then it's something research called the unbiased processing. And it's called unbiased processing, which is practically just not blurring things out. So there's two parts to it, right? And the best definition I would give authenticity is this, which is authentic people often express what they think or what they feel in a relatively unfiltered form, where diplomacy, people processing, and avoidance of function overmask the real self. So what does that even mean? A lot of times, day to day, we are in a world where we need to always people please, to always be the person that the other person wants us to be, right? Like whether you're in a professional setting or with friends, you always want to feel the need to fit that role of who you've been given to, right? And you don't have to fill that role at all. And being your authentic self is understanding okay, just because you have a role that you think I need to fill, and sure, I could people please and please you and fit that role, that's not what's going to really make you be authentic. What's going to make you be authentic is saying who you are, saying your truth, saying your thoughts, and not being oh, I have to fit in a bubble just because that's where you want me to, right? Being authentic is just being able to realize who you are as a person and give that out into the world, and not just let yourself be put into a box that other people determine you are. And that is what really is authenticity. Is just not, it's thinking outside of the box that you're being put in. Don't go inside the box that you're being put in by other people. It's realizing, hey, just because you think I'm going to be this way doesn't mean I actually am. And that way you'll find people who do accept you for being who you are. And you will, people are going to gravitate to people who are not fake, who are not doing all these things. They're going to be gravitating to people who are authentically themselves. Because if you automatically are just authentically yourself, you're going to find the people who love you for you. And that's what matters, because there's only one of you, and if you're trying to people please and be like everyone else and fit into these boxes, you're just going to blend in with everybody else. So sticking out and really saying okay, this is who I am. I'm just going to be me, do what I like, wear what I want, act the way I want, obviously be respectful and things, but having that authenticity is such a power, because almost so many people are just worried about what people think and how they can fit into that box, that they're just living like everybody else and not really living life how they want to be and how their true self is. So living in alignment is something that is very big in authenticity, is living in alignment with your truest self and your best self, right? Because if you live in alignment with who you are truly, you're going to live your life, do your habits, do your daily things, how you hang out with people, all these things. You're going to live that in alignment with your true self and who you really want to become. So in turn, it also boosts your self-esteem, like we talked about, right? It's kind of like a self-concept. The higher self-concept you have, the more true you are to yourself, the highest your self-esteem is going to be. And then in turn, it's going to help you make better decisions, because you're not worried about what other people think. You're going to make decisions based off what's best for you and what's going to make your life the best, not what everyone else wants for you. It's kind of simple as oh, well, I'm going to wear this just because everyone else is wearing it, or are you going to wear it because you really want to wear it? And it allows for you to truly express who you are. And when you are constantly creating this facade for who you want to be, it literally drains you as a person, because you are so constantly becoming this oh, I have to make sure everyone thinks I'm this specific person, that it literally drains you, and you're not able to process your emotions properly, do all these things. So you're so worried about your outward appearance that if you're not being authentically yourself, you're not able to get that. So being authentic literally helps you boost your emotional expression, and then when you're able to express who you are properly, it internalizes in your thought process, your deeper connections with yourself, your well-being, and with others. And like I said, when you are yourself, automatically going into a friendship, going into any type of relationship, into the world, you are automatically presenting just who you are as a person, and it's going to help you create deeper connections, because the people who you are surrounding yourself with are going to see you for who you actually are. And then that's who you know, okay, they are going to love me for who I am and not, just what they want me to be. And you can go into relationships and friendships like this also when you see people, you're hey, no walls, no barriers, just be your true self, love you for who you are, unapologetic appreciation for a person. That's what authenticity is. And it creates like no walls, no emotional boundaries, no boundaries at all, because in that way you get past that like facade that you've built up with people that takes so long and is the biggest thing of why people can't connect properly. You take that aspect away, and then you can really spend your time and your energy on like growing that deeper connection that takes so long. And that is why authenticity, like, it literally takes away a whole step of connection with people in a good way, because it will just create that border that's been up and like take it down, and then it will allow you to get deeper with them and understand who they are as a person, who you are, and then you'll have that great bond. And it helps you just navigate life not only with yourself and like just being like, okay, this is who I am, understanding my things, understanding who I truly am, but also understanding other people. And that's why authenticity is so powerful, because once you understand you and have like your self-esteem and all that, and if you have a higher self-esteem, it's going to make living life so much more easy because you're able to understand situations. Now, authenticity can be a bad thing. Sometimes you do need to learn how to have a filter and control it. And a great example of this is by Mina Ibarra. And this is an example of like how authenticity can backfire on you. And so say somebody's wanting to like join your team, like say you're an owner, somebody's wanting to join your team, right? And they say, I want to do this job, but it's scared and I need your help. This is meant as authentic transparency, being like, yeah, I'm scared, I need help with it. But it can come across and cost a person like their credibility, because they're like, hey, I'm not really built for this job. Like sometimes it is okay, like, you know, have this idea like, okay, I can do it, right? And try to do it. It can be good. But of course, if you say, I'm scared, I don't really know if I should do it, it kind of shows like you're not. To some people, it does show a little bit of like inconfidence. So I think with authenticity, it can be a good thing a lot of times. But when you're too authentic, you know, sometimes you do have to just suck it up and be like, yeah, I can do that. Or yeah, it doesn't bother me, for the better run out of it. So it's really situational based. But then also, so this is also a point made by Ibarra, and it says, if you define authenticity as rigid, saying exactly who you are right now, you'll struggle to grow in new roles or situations that requires behavior to feel unnatural at first. So of course, being authentic is being who you are naturally, but don't let it like stop you off and stop worrying about who you are as a person. Make sure that you're still able to grow and be in uncertain situations, right? Being authentic is, you know, not having any walls or barriers up, but also that doesn't have anything to do with like being able to be uncomfortable. Well, you should be able to be uncomfortable. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, that's just who I am, so I'm not going to do anything else. Being authentic is also having the role to grow, like be able to grow as a person, be able to go in uncomfortable situations and be able to face them head on. So don't let it just stop you and think, oh, well, it's just who I am. It's just like what it means. Like, no, you still need to make the effort to grow as a person and be uncomfortable, but doing it in like yourself and not just for somebody else to do it. So also, I think the best key of understanding what authenticity is a great example of like your fashion sense, right? Like, are you wearing something because you actually like how you look in it? Are you wearing it because it's trending? Are you getting something because it's trending? Are you getting it because you like it? Are you, you know, perceiving yourself a certain way because this is how the people in your like group or your bubble are? Are you perceiving it in a way of, oh, I like to wear this or do this or have this thing or have this style, and that's why. And I think authenticity can also be linked back to like we said, self-confidence and all those things. Like, the more you are yourself and the more you are able to go put yourself out there as your truest self, it's able to gain that confidence. But also you can be yourself with showing your real emotions, showing your real thoughts, but also being able to put yourself out there a little bit. And I think that also goes back to what was talked about in a previous episode about how the people who you surround yourself by really matter, because if you are yourself going into it, you're going to be surrounded by people who will love you unapologetically and genuinely. And that way you can continue being yourself. Because if you're surrounded by people who are a certain type of way and you've put up this facade and you're not yourself, and you put up this facade to be in this group or be with these people, right? And you don't feel seen, you don't feel loved, you're just like, oh, well, I'm just another part of this group. And you're not really being yourself, you're not going to feel happy. You're not going to feel like confident in yourself because you're faking it practically. And sometimes faking it till you make it is a good thing. But when it comes to this, especially with who you surround yourself by, is so important because it allows you to grow and be yourself and be able to even like expand. Like, okay, maybe I was into this, maybe I'm switching it, maybe I was acting this way. And it allows you to grow as a person without people judging you for it. So I think being authentic yourself is such an important thing in life, because it's able to not only have the power for your confidence, which will help you go far in life, but also to find the people who truly care about you in your inner circle. And that is why, like, your environment is so important, and it helps create that good environment to help you grow in all other aspects of life. And that's why it's a good foundation to just be yourself. And of course, like, fake it till you make it, all these things, right? Like, there's times where, you know, you're not going to need to be your most authentic self, but, you know, day to day, every day, I think being who you are, realizing who you are, spreading that out to the world and be like, no, this is me. If you're going to care about it, you are. And if you're not, you're not. And that has more power than not being yourself just to fit in with a certain crowd, right? You know, and you obviously, like we said, we talked about this with like social media having more raw, unfiltered content, you know, people more being themselves in this very highly edited, you know, highly formatted thing is also starting to come on the rise. So that's important to notice. Like, even like throughout social media, you're seeing this, which is what social media went from such like a, you have to be the certain way, to now being your raw, unapologetic self. And some ways that you can practice this in your day-to-day, I would say one main thing is like write it out, kind of write out how you're feeling, start to understand your emotions, how you process it, journal it. That's a great way to do it. Also, like, honest reps and like low setting stakes, like practice like wearing a certain outfit that you like out on your day-to-day, saying something that, you know, maybe not everybody in your circle is going to agree with, but you believe in it. Like, small things, start saying that, like, start smallly doing it. So start doing it in small doses where people are going to start to understand, like, hey, you know, okay, she's kind of saying her opinion, saying her thoughts, saying what she believes. And if they, you know, appreciate that, that's what you need. And if they don't, they don't. So it's just like, start by doing it in small actions. And then ask yourself, am I adapting my style, or am I abandoning my values? That's a great question to ask. So with that, I hope that you enjoyed this video talking about how to be your authentic self. And with that said, if you have any questions or want to further discuss this conversation or anything like that, or how you were being your authentic self this week, let me know down below. And thank you so much for joining me today on this lovely conversation. I hope you're having a great day, evening, night, whenever you listen to this, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye!